Imagine that you hadn't eaten for a very, very long time, and you were absolutely starving, when along comes a kind person who gives you all of their food that they have, keeping nothing for themselves. How do you think you could repay such a kindness? Hello everyone, I'm Kathleen Pelly. Welcome to Journey with Story. I wonder how you answered that question. How would you repay such a kindness? Maybe it would depend on what you had to give or who the person was who was so kind to you. Today's story is an old tale from Scotland about a magical cat who repays an old woman for her kindness in a surprising and exciting way. Before we begin, I would like to give a huge shout-out thank you to Jana from the Philippines, who sent me a lovely note and a beautiful drawing inspired by our story, The 12 Dancing Princesses. She remembers when I did an online presentation for her school when she was in kindergarten. And ever since then, she has been a loyal listener and a loyal fan. Here's what she said. I love listening to your podcast every day. My favourite episode is The 12 Dancing Princesses. I hope you continue telling stories. Thank you so much, Jana. And yes, I certainly hope to continue telling stories for as long as I can. And this episode is especially for you. Enjoy. And remember, if any of our other listeners out there hear a story that inspires them to draw a picture, you can always send it to us at www.journeywithstore.com. Click on the contact form, download it there, or send it to us on Instagram. Now let's take a journey with Scratch Tom. One night an old woman heard a scratch, scratch, scratch upon her door. When she opened it, there stood a scraggy, starved-looking cat with gleaming eyes as big as saucers. "Poor wee thing," said the old woman. "Come and sit by the fire." The cat crept in. "What's your name?" asked the old woman. "Scratch Tom," he replied. The only food the woman had in the house was one small oat cake, but she felt sorry for the hungry cat. She broke the oat cake into 3 bits and put them on the floor. Scratch Tom ate the first bit and he swelled. He ate the second bit and he swelled and swelled. He ate the third bit and he swelled and swelled and swelled, until he was as big as the old woman's table. "As you have shared all you have with me, I shall repay you," he said. "Climb up onto my back and good fortune will be yours." The old woman was afraid of tumbling off the cat's back, so she tied her apron around Scratch Tom's neck and then climbed on and gripped the apron strings tight. Away they went into the cold, dark night. Scratch Tom ran faster than the wind and didn't stop until they came to a huge wooden door set in the side of a hill. He knocked on the door.
"Who wishes to enter?"
cried a voice from the inside. "The Princess of the Land of Light and her servant, Scratch Tom," replied the cat.
"I won't open the door without the sign,"
said the voice. "Slip your hand under the door and I'll give you the sign," said Scratch Tom. A long, thin arm appeared under the door. At once the cat pounced on it.
"Let me go,"
cried the voice. "Not until you give me the key to the door," said Scratch Tom. A large key was pushed under the door, and the cat let go. "Quick, stand on my back and unlock the door," Scratch Tom told the old woman, "and keep the key." The old woman did as she was told, but the door wouldn't open. They both pushed, but still it wouldn't move. "Take 3 hairs from my tail and stroke the hinges," said Scratch Tom, and that did the trick. The door opened into a cave, and there stood an ugly giant with big flappy ears.
Give back that key,
bellowed the giant. "I can't reach up," said Scratch Tom. "You must bend down closer." When the giant bent down, the cat bit off his head. Then the old woman put the key in her pocket, held tight to the apron strings, and on they went into the dark cave. Scratch Tom ran faster than the wind. Then all of a sudden, he stopped. "Put your hand behind my left ear and scratch Tom," he told the old woman. She did as he asked, and a soft, silvery glow shone from his eyes, revealing a lofty cavern before them, studded with gemstones. A dozen giants with huge flappy ears were having a feast. They blinked in the light which hurt their eyes. In the midst of them sat their king wearing a crown of black feathers, and their queen wearing a golden crown with an enormous diamond as big as an egg.
Who dares to enter my kingdom?
Cried the king. This is the princess of the land of light, said Scratch Tom, and I am her servant.
How does she make light in my cave?
Asked the king. That is her secret, replied Scratch Tom, and he whispered to the old woman to scratch under his chin. When she did so, a dazzling light shone from the cat's huge eyes, making the cavern as bright as day.
Too bright,
cried the king, covering his eyes with his flappy ears.
Put out the light.
All the giants groaned and did the same. Scratch Tom whispered to the old woman what to do next. She climbed down and stood before the king and queen. I will only put out the light if you give me the queen's crown, she said.
Never,
cried the king. But the giants struck up such a howling and wailing that the queen told him to do it. So the king removed his wife's crown and handed it to the old woman, who wrapped it inside her shawl and climbed back on the cat. The old woman scratched the cat behind his left ear, and the light faded to a soft, silvery glow. Then she scratched him behind his right ear, and it was dark once more. Hold tight, cried the cat, and away he ran. When they reached the door in the side of the hill, the old woman took the key from her pocket and unlocked it, but she couldn't push the door shut behind them. Take 3 hairs from my tail and stroke the hinges, said the cat. The old woman was in such a hurry that she pulled out a handful. When she stroked the hinges of the door, it slammed shut and trapped the cat's tail. Scratch Tom tugged his tail free. No time to lock the door, he cried, and he sped away faster than the wind. The old woman held tight her apron strings and glanced back over her shoulder. Out of the door in the hill ran the giants, shouting angrily. They chased after Scratch Tom and the old woman with such huge strides that the fastest giant almost came close enough to grab the cat's tail. But just at that moment, the morning sun rose. The giants who lived in the hill couldn't bear sunlight. Wailing and howling, they covered their eyes with their flappy ears and stumbled back to their cave. Scratch Tom carried the old woman home. "Sell the golden crown, and you shall never go hungry again," he told her. "Those giants have heaps of treasure and plenty to eat." "Oh, how can I thank you for your kindness?" asked the old woman. "Scratch Tom," said the cat. And so the old woman did just that. Well, what do you think this story's souvenir is this week? The little nugget of truth about what it means to be human. Yes, of course, it's easy, isn't it? One good turn deserves another. Kindness is the way to make the world a better place. Or something like that. Remember, mums and dads, if you haven't already done so, could you please take a moment to share this podcast with one of your friends or neighbours? And maybe even tag us on Instagram to show that you've shared it. Thanks ever so much. Join me next time for Journey with Story. Music and post-production was by Colette Jonas.